cool.
All right, we're up and going.
All
Dude,
right.
there's the one thing about having a husky and pit mix, which is an amazing mix, by the way, probably
Yeah.
legendary. But the hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he still
That's
sheds.
that's so funny because I don't think I've ever had that issue with my dog.
What's the breed?
She's a Lhasa Apso, so it's really close to like a Shih Tzu, basically.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wait, he's like 60 pit and then 30 husky or 25 husky. But he still has a bunch of the traits, like he talks sometimes and all that stuff like husky does, but I was hoping the hair shedding wouldn't be a thing, and it definitely is.
Yeah.
Let me check real quick on the audio now that we're here. Give me 1 minute.
All right. Yeah. No problem. Yeah. Check how we sound, and then we will get started here in a second. And I will work on getting the thumbnail and all that good stuff up.
You sound perfect.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
it's the same mic?
Yeah.
That's
Well, you
so
you
weird.
you remember it was just Walt who said he was having issues?
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
Maybe
yeah.
it was his weird ass. Come on, Walt. You know the rules here. If you're not actually in the podcast, you get
Yes,
roasted.
sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Let
Well,
me
now that we're up, let me tweet out real quick, and then we could be
cool.
good to go. But what a week, man! What a crazy week! I think the day before the Game Awards, or actually the day of the Game Awards, was like news nonstop.
Yeah, yeah. I just posted the thumbnail, so if you want to save that for the tweet, you can go ahead.
Oh, on the Discord, sweet.
Well, on the actual like YouTube, but I can send it to you too.
No, that's good. I can just go into YouTube Studio app and then. Well, actually, yeah, put in Discord because I don't think I can go into videos that aren't published and like quote unquote change your thumbnail.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can't. So yeah, just post in Discord and I'll attach it to the tweet.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Oh man, P boy's going at it.
Who?
Talking about Walt, not my dog.
Oh,
What's up,
okay.
Press Alpha? I'm glad you're able to join the stream. I'm glad that the YouTube actually works too. First of all, that's a rare thing.
All right, it's in there.
All right, cool. Let me grab it. Oh man, all about that Death Stranding one, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
I feel you. I feel you.
Actually, this is the first thumbnail I did in Photoshop.
Really?
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second.
Yep.
Sorry, my man. There's a this haphazard in the Ramirez household right now. Jesus Christ! I'm just trying to make sure my coffee doesn't spill right now, dog. All right, you're gonna take him out. Okay, that's fair. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, it's all good. It's all good. I gotta put this tweet up. Let me see. Um, put that in there. Sorry, Press Alpha. We're like we're shooting at the hip today, just like in Uncharted.
Yeah, yes. Yes, sir.
Just like Bill Clinton, actually. He always shoots at the hip.
Oh man.
Ain't that right, so?
Yep. Yes, sir.
That's so crazy how that story just went all over the place afterwards. People were like, he's anti-Semitic, he's part of the Illuminati. Turns out he's just a 15-year-old punk, man.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Do you?
Yeah, man, it was funny.
Yeah, I'm glad we're gonna talk about it. I've been sad we talk about it today.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Me and Walt were dying. All right, so I got that link in there. Got that in there. Who is now live? Feel free to start now if you're ready.
Yeah, okay. All right, guys, welcome to the 85th episode of the DualShock and Sense podcast. I'm your host, Soul, the connoisseur of anime waifus, joined by we only have 2/3 of the usual suspects today. God, we gotta keep a tally of how many episodes this motherfucker has been missing, man. We gotta start docking his pay, I think. But yeah, we got Macho here, so we're good. What's going on, man?
What's going on, dude? Man, what a fruitful week this has been. Yeah, our boys missing today. The manga maniac, the connoisseur of weird anime titties. I don't know what he wants to
Oh
call
man.
himself today, but the King of Kingdom Hearts Final Fanatic is here and ready to go. Not sick anymore, as you can tell, thankfully. But
Yeah.
man, how's your week, man? It was a bit of a roller coaster. I think it was a long ass week, but the end kind of made up for it. But was it the same for you?
Yeah, it was a pretty good week, to be honest. Yeah, it was. I mean, it felt good because there was actual like gaming stuff happening. Like it's always nice to have like something to look forward to. So like starting Monday and then knowing that the Game Awards are on Thursday, regardless of like the quality of the show, it was just nice to have that feeling of like E3, or PlayStation Showcase and be like, oh, okay, there's something on the horizon to look forward to.
Yeah. That's this felt like one of the biggest events of the year. Honestly, bigger than Summer Games Fest, which
For sure.
you know, what I mean, like it's so funny, and it's even funnier when people are like, this is not a big gaming event. Like,
Yeah.
sir, excuse you. This is
Yeah.
definitely one of the biggest gaming events, and I think that Friday night or Thursday night rather really proved kind of how big this thing was. Like so many great stuff. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, we'll definitely get into it. Want to remind everyone to please go ahead and like the podcast, share it out. We would greatly appreciate all of that good stuff. So yeah, before we jump into, I mean, really just talking about the Game Awards, let's talk about what we've been playing this week. Macho, what have you been up to?
yeah, dude, this week was all about Star Ocean for me. All about Star Ocean, all about reading the Lord of the Rings and Fellowship of the Ring, and really just dive deep into that because every year I do my Lord of the Rings trilogy marathon before the end of the year. Oh, I gotta remember how to play Hades now. And so I started reading that, but I've mostly been playing Star Ocean. There's like maybe like a quarter left of the game. I'm about like 75% through the story, and overall, I'm gonna say Star Ocean is definitely the guilty pleasure sort of JRPG. It reminds me of the PS3 days when it comes to JRPGs, where it's not all tip top shape, but like one of those things where like,
Yeah,
oh, if this game did release in the PS3 360 era, then it would be like probably one of the best JRPGs alongside like Ni no Kuni or maybe any sort of Tales game that came out around that time, like Tales of Exilia, stuff like that. But overall, it's good, man. It's a lot of fun. Again, it's more guilty pleasure. I think it's more accessible. I'll recommend this one a little bit more than something like Valkyrie Elysium or Callisto Protocol, something like that. So,
right.
but been playing a lot of that Star Ocean this week, and then surprisingly, Marvel Snap. Have you tried out Marvel Snap by any chance?
I haven't, but I've definitely seen them ads with that one dude who's a little too hype. I'm gonna say that.
Oh, yeah. Is that the guy? I think that's probably the director, right? Is that the guy that accepted the award? Is that who you're
Yeah,
talking about?
he was the one who accepted the award.
Yeah, he was like, yeah.
And then all of the goddamn ads are like him being like, "Oh my god, guys, I can't wait to tell you about Marvel Snap."
I'm gonna start thinking about that guy a little bit more when I'm playing and get more hyped for that. But
Yeah, maybe.
overall, it's a good game, man. It's actually it's a lot of fun, very quick and easy to learn. Like last night, even when I kind of woke up from my sleepy spell, and it was like 3 in the morning, something like that. And then one of the first thing I thought, I was like, oh, I should play Marvel Snap. I'm not joking. Because it's so easy just to get in and then get out, and it's like the perfect mobile game. So, but overall, it's
Yeah.
really fun. So I'm quite addicted to it. Got like a whole bunch of set of cards. I'm ready to upgrade, and It's a great like gameplay loop for it too. So overall, yeah, it's just what I've been playing. Mostly just reading Star Ocean, really.
Nice, nice. Cool. For me, I mean, it's really just been a little bit more God of War, um, as well as a little bit of Horizon. Just kind of like walking around, just exploring, doing that kind of thing. But yeah, God of War. The last stream was really fun. Um,
Yeah, I saw those parties here again. Now let's see, it's getting crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I feel like so obviously you finished it, so like I can say all this stuff, but the what I assume to be the first Freya fight, or maybe it's the only one, I don't know, but that Freya fight, you think it's just a normal Valkyrie, and it's funny because they give you all the little breadcrumbs to kind of like make you doubt or make you think that it could be Freya, that that's a possibility, but I just was in the heat of the moment. You're just not thinking of it, right? You're only thinking like I gotta kill this
Yeah,
Valkyrie, right? So you're
100%. I
not
gotta not die.
right. So you're not picking up on all those cues on those little breadcrumbs that they're leaving for you, right? Like the sword that she has, that's a dead giveaway. Atreus talking about like we freed all the Valkyries, so why is this one coming after us, right? That's another big breadcrumb. Um, and again, just in the moment, you're not picking up on those things. And then the reveal of like, their two weapons clashing and Kratos like looking at Freya dead in the eyes and saying like, Freya? Like that
I
moment,
love that so much.
I was like, what? Because again, it's something that you should have known, you should have guessed, but for whatever reason, I just didn't. And then also like my yeah, I'm going to say my favorite song from God of War 2018 was the Valkyries theme song. Like I think that song is just perfection. And to
Mm.
hear it come back during that fight, man, like I was just like goosebumps all over. Like I cannot tell you how many times I've listened to that one specific track. Um so yeah, it was great. And then just the aftermath of that fight as well, like because we're dealing with the aftermath of everything that happened in Ironwood, right? Atreus having the knowledge of his father being killed during Ragnarok, right? So like
Hmm.
Atreus just in general is on edge because he doesn't know how, or at least I don't think he knows how it's going to happen, but he knows it's going to happen, right? um
It's kind of like puts in
so
perspective that line where he's like, "Well, someone needs to protect you," and he's like, "I don't need protection."
exactly.
Yeah.
And so like so it makes sense why Atreus is just like at every little thing he's going to be super like jumpy, going to be super concerned about his dad more than he's ever been. So the moment that Freya has her sword up to Kratos' neck and is about to kill him, it was a nice juxtaposition of Atreus freaking out and going after Freya for the kill this time versus the beginning of the game when he couldn't take that shot, remember? During
Hmm.
the sled ride, right? So like it's a nice little juxtaposition between that moment when he couldn't take the shot to this Freya fight where he's literally turning into a bear to go after her to kill her to protect his dad, right? So I really love that moment. Really love Kratos going in to stop him, right? I mean, who would have thought that Kratos would actually be saving a god, you know? Um
Yeah.
yeah. So like I don't know, that whole scene was fucking incredible. Um, and now I'm in Vanaheim. Just met Freya's brother, Freyr. And really excited to get more into his character. So yeah, it's been a great time, man. It's been great.
Great. Yeah. And I mean, you're meeting like a whole host of side characters along with that. Um,
Yeah,
you're gonna run into them, but yeah, Freyr is super cool. He's one of my favorite extra additions to the entire roster there. But then he still has a couple of really cool secrets that you find out like near like the end of the game too, um, along with Freya. So I really can't wait to see more of you playing the game just to see your reactions to it because honestly, I'm vicariously living through you now in this playthrough because I want to replay the game so badly. But
yeah,
I really want New Game Plus for all like the extra skills that I acquired and stuff like that.
yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, it's been great, man. I'm really digging it. And one thing I did not expect was just like how critical the game has been with Mimir. I mean, all the stuff that happened at Svartalfheim, and then between the mines, the whale side mission, and then I mean, we knew that Mimir was the one who set up the wedding between Freya and Odin, and to see that that's the thing that Freyr still blames Mimir for, right? So it's been interesting to see the game being so critical of Mimir. I did not think that Mimir would be such a big part of this, you know?
Yeah, there's a good to honest reason why the game won for best narrative at Game Awards. There's a
Yeah,
there's a lot of layers, and honestly, just from where you're at, man, you're just the tip of the iceberg. Like, there's so much more.
yeah, I'm excited. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much been it for me. Um, so I mean, I guess we could just kind of get started with the topics. You down?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Cool, cool, cool. So was there anything that happened besides the Game Awards? Like before the Game Awards?
Honestly,
I
the
mean, I
only
guess go ahead.
no, what were you gonna say?
I mean, I guess besides the whole FTC
That's what I was
suing,
gonna say.
yeah, that I think Xbox raised their prices on Monday as well. Um,
Yeah, they say they're gonna raise them to $70 for next year, for to meet the high quality bar standard. And I was like, who's standard?
don't say that. Or whose quality?
Who's quality?
Oh.
Because I thought of that and I was looking at it and I was like, damn. I wonder if still remembers the internal review Xbox did for The Last of Us Part 2. And we're
Yeah,
saying, like, yeah, this game's like the pinnacle of gaming, except for the gameplay. And I was like, Jesus, okay, we'll see where they go with that one. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think that
But
was kind of the biggest like news drop. And honestly, I thought that was gonna overtake what the Game Awards was gonna do, which would have been sad. But yeah, the FTC suing, or yeah, getting into that lawsuit on the actual deal with Blizzard, with Microsoft and Blizzard. I was listening to Benji Sales about it because obviously I don't really follow it that much, but with Benji Sales on Twitter, who's honestly one of like the honest to good YouTubers and people on Twitter out there that loves video games and loves reporting on statistics and stuff like that. He's saying like, oh yeah, this is not like small potatoes. This is a big thing. Microsoft is probably having like a get together with all like the shareholders saying like, is going after this deal really worth it, because this thing could prolong for years depending on what happens. So honestly, the story's going to keep evolving, but I think it was just significant just to bring up at least here, because we don't want to cover all the drama, Mean Girls stuff, right? That stuff is boring. It gets really played out really quickly. But something like this with MTC is actually going to like a fresh lawsuit with Microsoft on this deal. It's pretty significant. That's probably as significant as the actual deal itself. So something just to
Yeah.
mention. But I mean, I don't know if you have any thoughts on it, but that's just about really kind of where I was thinking on it. Like it's nothing. It's nothing to like kind of like, you know,
I
to
mean,
push aside.
for sure, for sure. I don't really have like much thoughts about it. I've just kind of been, my brain has kind of like detached itself from that kind of stuff since since probably about March. As soon as I realized that this was going to be a thing that people were going to be talking about literally every month, I was like, you know what, I don't need to. I think I actually have like like Activision, Call of Duty, and acquisition like muted on my Twitter, because like I'm just like I'm good, you know.
Good man, yeah, good man.
But yeah, I'm just one of those people that's like whatever happens happens, you know. So I'm not pressed or worried about it. If it goes through, it goes through. If it doesn't go through, it doesn't go through. You know, I don't really care, as long as like I still get to play good games on my console. I don't really care. So
Yeah, 100%. I'm totally with
yeah,
you on that.
yeah. So yeah, that's that. So I guess let's just move into the Game Awards, man.
Let's do it, man. The best, honestly, the best stuff the entire week.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about like how what was your overall thoughts on the Game Awards this year in comparison to previous years? Because I feel like, aside from some like minor, things, like we love Chris Judge, but he was a little long on that speech, right? So like things like that. Aside from those things, I feel like this was like one of the better ones, despite I didn't feel like there was like that major like, like bombshell, that Naughty Dog's next new IP, their next new project that they're working on, or what is Corey's next big game that they're working on, or Spider-Man 2 gameplay reveal, right? There wasn't anything like that. Maybe Death Stranding was that one thing,
I think there's a
but
couple actually.
what I will say is that like even though I feel like we didn't have those big bombshells, there was a bunch of like really good um B tier announcements sounds dismissive, but you know what I mean? Like things that are like a little under, knowing what Naughty Dog's next big game is, right? That
So not
we
not
did
completely mainstream stuff, but stuff
right.
that's gonna get gamers excited. Gotcha. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. There was a bunch of like those things peppered throughout that still got me excited. So that's why I think this show was still really, really good.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense now that you put it into that perspective. A lot of people were saying that too, where it's like there's nothing like huge and groundbreaking. I was like, man, we got a lot though. There's Armored Core 6. I mean, I'm not excited really for that, but like a lot of people are
Yeah, me
making
neither.
news on that one. Hades 2. I just saw it too. And Jedi Fallen Order was also a big one. But but yeah, I can see your perspective. But overall, like I'll say, man, this is the best Game Awards show we've had yet. And
Yeah.
I'm saying that period, exclamation point, everything. No question mark here on that. Like seriously, this is the best Game Awards show in terms of pacing, announcements. I know I mostly agree with like all the awards that were given out too. So I think everyone was just more or less happy with the end result, which is for once, uh, for once actually happening, really great. Um, Obviously, it's like obviously a couple of weird things with that Bill Clinton kid, but we'll say that for another time here. But yeah, overall it's great, man. Like if you honestly go back to VGX 2013 with Joe McHale and watching Jeff Keighley host that award show with Joe McHale, it was a dumpster fire, dog. Like it was horrible.
Yeah.
I go back and it's so cringy. The interviews are so off base. Like it's night and day compared to what Jeff produced, a couple nights ago. Like seriously, like go back and look at it. You'd be like, damn, we came a long way. So I shout out to Jeff for actually pulling that off, man, because it was I had a ton of fun watching with Walt and one of our other friends on PSN, and we're just laughing, cracking up, having a good time, getting excited about all the announcements that were shown too. Like it was great stuff, man. So we had a great time.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was definitely good, and I think it also helped that this wasn't a 3 hour show.
Oh, it was.
Uh,
It was a
oh, it
3 hour show.
was.
Yeah,
Well,
dude.
well, because of the pre-show, right?
No, so the show actually the pre-show was 7:30, and the show started 8 p.m. sharp. We didn't.
Okay.
I didn't go to bed until 11 like 15.
Damn. So that's so
Yeah.
weird because I feel like it didn't feel like 3 hours.
That's the thing. It didn't. That's why when I looked at the time, it was 11 o'clock. I was like, oh, I gotta go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah,
So me and Walt, we wanted to stay around, and look at reactions, and see what people are saying. But like, I had to go. So it was a long
yeah,
show, but it didn't feel like it for the first time again.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah. So I mean, let's kind of get into it.
Yeah. Do you want to do winners first, announcement first? What do you have in
Um,
mind?
I mean, let's. I guess we could go through announcements and then do awards after.
Okay.
So I mean, some highlights for me was obviously Judas.
Yeah.
The
Oh my god.
that and that's funny because as someone who hasn't played BioShock yet, this just looked really really fucking cool. Um, I don't know what it is about first person shooters that I'm like now suddenly like really attracted to because like this like Judas and then Atomic Heart. I don't know if you've been seeing that game. That game has been kind of shown off like a couple times now. Um, and I think it's made by like a Ukrainian dev, and they've actually had devs who have been like fighting in the war. Like it's crazy. Um, but Atomic Heart is another one of those like first person almost I don't like it does kind of remind me of BioShock, but I don't know. It's one of those first person shooter games that just looks fucking awesome. Like I really really want to play that game so bad. Um,
Yeah, maybe it started by Ken Levine. Everyone was wondering what this guy has been working on because he announced a long time ago that he's working on a new IP, in a different studio, obviously not the same one for that does Bioshock. So people are kind of expecting it to be like, well, is it going to be a Bioshock? Or is he doing something completely different? Turns out it's just about the same kind of DNA of Bioshock, um, but just more trippy. I mean, the horse enemies, whatever it
yeah,
was,
yeah.
having the main theme song being like a pirate shanty,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which was super cool. But yeah, it's looks gonna be Bioshock in space, which is what the one thing people were expecting, but didn't know how it look, and honestly, it's looking mighty fine.
And it's like it feels like a natural progression, right? We started in the sea, then we went to the sky, and space feels like the natural progression to go from there.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I fully recommend those games, man. I think that's honestly it's one of the reasons why I don't really play that many first-person shooters because I'm always looking for the next Bioshock or along those lines to like really make me think deeply about a story and what my character is doing, stuff like that. And Bioshock is kind of untouched in that realm, man. It really is. So I'm excited to see another project from the same mind, but a completely different setting. I think it's gonna be really exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Um, yeah. So I mean, yeah, Judas was awesome to see. I brought up Atomic Heart. I will always be down to see more of that game. So I was happy to see that. Baldur's Gate 3 was another um highlight for me as someone who obviously discovered Divinity Original Sin 2 for the first time this year, and just like that game is probably my game of the year. So to see like this team, Macho, this team has been play or have been working on Baldur's Gate 3 since like 2018, I want to say. Like it's been a really long it's been in early access for a really really long time, and fans have been, really dying to know like when this game is coming out. We finally have a release window of August of 2023, so it still feels like it's a ways off. Probably even longer for people on console because I'm pretty sure that's just a PC release first.
mm.
Regardless, it means we're inching closer to the day that I finally get to play that game. So I'm excited nonetheless. It was weird because like they showed off more gameplay of it, and then like their big announcement was like the collector's edition or whatever, and I'm like, I felt kind of weird about it because it's like, okay, like this game still isn't like, it's a long way out from this game coming out. You guys are promoting the collector's edition first.
It's
Um,
probably does it come in a statue?
I think so. Yeah,
That's probably why, just to really gauge how much they have to make.
yeah, probably. But yeah, I don't know. Regardless, it was awesome to see that game. I'm really excited. Whenever that game does come to console, I'm there day one. So I'm it's their big follow up to a Divinity Original Sin 2. So it's been 5 years.
Oh, really?
So yeah, yeah.
Huh.
So I'm really excited, and it's more. I don't know if you've seen gameplay of it, but it's way more cinematic. Um,
Yeah, no,
you know,
I'm
it,
interested.
yeah, for sure. And the character creator, you know, stuff is like way more in depth. So yeah, I'm super excited for this. But yeah, so that was Baldur's Gate 3. Um,
Yeah, it looks good. I'm sure Walt's gonna be all over that too.
yeah, for sure. Another one. So tell me about this one. Bayonetta Origins. I mean, what? I mean, obviously, we can we can grasp that this is going to be like, Bayonetta's, origin before she becomes who she is. But
Right.
what exactly is the gameplay like style of this?
It's a top-down platformer action adventure, and
Okay.
so it's one of those things where they're trying to make spin-offs of their franchise. Uh, to what degree, honestly, I have no idea. But this is basically just the Platinum trying to extend I guess, trying to extend their dev repertoire and see what they can do here. But this was probably one of the weirdest announcements In all honesty, I think the last thing people expected from Bayonetta games to be a top-down action adventure focusing on Cereza and kind of her past and trying to find her mom or something like that. To be honest, I'm not sure who really cares, but
Yeah,
because
yeah.
when this was announced, everyone was like, "What?" and then everyone just didn't mention it ever again. So, for all we know, it could be a banger though. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Who knows? But I feel like aside from that, like, did Nintendo really have much of a presence, like in terms of like big announcements?
No, no, that's another conversation, honestly.
I mean, because it did feel like, and I was on Reset Era, just like I like going on there a lot recently, and like a lot of people were saying that this felt like a mini state of play for Sony, because like just going down the list, they had Returnal coming to PC that they announced there. The Last of Us got a PC release date as well for March 3rd. Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores DLC, which I'm sure we could talk about.
Hell yeah.
Obviously Death Stranding 2, right?
Forspoken got a demo.
Forspoken got a demo. There was some multiplayer game that like PlayStation's apparently like backing. I forget the name of it because that demo was like incredibly forgettable. As soon as the gameplay started, I was like, let me grab my pillow really quick.
You talking about that third person shooter that's like kind of space like
I think
the
so.
one
I
that
don't
the
know.
ones from a Chinese hero project? Is that what you're talking about?
No, 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 no. I don't. No, I don't think it was them. It was definitely like some Western dev. Um,
Oh man, I don't know then.
yeah, it was some multiplayer shooter kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, just off of those, it definitely like sure, Death Stranding and the Horizon DLC, I would consider to be like the only like big announcements, but like it definitely felt like PlayStation had more of a presence there than in years past. I don't know if you felt that way.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of what we are talking about before. How like what's their 2023 shaping up to be, and that's where I joked around like, oh, just wait for the state of play, wait for the PlayStation Showcase to come around. This was
Yeah,
it, you know.
yeah.
They just kind of shaped out their entire 2023, didn't they? With
I,
PSVR 2,
I mean,
Horizons in April.
we didn't even bring up Final Fantasy 16 getting a release date as well.
Yep, and that's in June.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so they shaped up their entire like first half of 2023. You could argue, right? Even Last of Us being in March, which you would have to assume that factions multiplayer will be sometime after that. So
yeah.
possibly May, if the Horizon DLC is in April.
Who knows, man?
Yeah,
I think, and again, I think this to me at least, it's really exciting because I feel like these are like we suspected that Death Stranding 2 was a thing. Especially, Norman Reedus saying like a year ago that it was a thing, that he was
yeah.
working on it. Um,
My man aged up a bit in that trailer, though.
yeah, yeah. I also like I could not believe people were doubting that Death Stranding 2 was gonna be his next game when he was literally like the last 2 months hanging out with people from SI all over SIE. I was like, come on guys, like it's that's his next game. But yeah, so like I feel like we could have guessed that Death Stranding 2 was a thing, and obviously the Horizon DLC thing is cool, but like after that, like we still don't really know like first party wise, like, what is Blue Point working on? What is Naughty Dog's next new IP? What is Corey working on now that Ragnarok is out?
Hmm.
Um I mean, we could go down to like what is Deviation's game looking like? We won't see Haven's game for a long time, but what are they working on? What
What
is
about Studio
Firewalk?
Bend? Huh? What about
What's
Studio Bend?
Ben working on? Even though we won't see their game for a while, since they just got the A-OK to work on a new IP last year, I think. So it's gonna be a while before we see anything from them. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, Team Asobi, what are they? It's been a couple years now. What are they working on, right? So like the fact that like it still feels like we don't have concrete answers on any of those questions. I don't know. I'm kind of excited. It's kind of exciting not knowing, because it's like because you just know that the floodgates have to open at some point. That all this information is going to come out at some point, and I don't know. That's pretty exciting to me.
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of crazy, right? Because the floodgates, like you said, the floodgates didn't open yet. We just got like a sneak peek
Yeah,
of some stuff.
just a little leak, just a little leak, a little water came out, which
Yeah,
was Death Stranding 2. But yeah, and you know that's not to mention all the XDev projects, right? We know one of them is Rise of the Ronin. We have things like Lost Soul Aside, that are also Sony Interactive Entertainment published games. So there's gonna be plenty of
yeah.
those kind of games as
Stellar Blade
well.
too. Yeah,
Stellar Blade, and then the XDev projects that were leaked on that document, but of course have not been revealed yet. Obviously, Death Stranding 2 was one of the projects that was on that leaked document. There's an open world game from Sumo Digital that was on there. That game from Ballistic Moon, the like some of the people from Supermassive who went to create that studio are working like on a horror game with XDev. So like there's that game that we haven't seen yet. Obviously Fire Sprite, they're working on a bunch of projects as well that we haven't seen yet. So again, it just feels like there's so much that we don't know, and the floodgates have to open at some point. So I'm really excited for when they do.
same. Yeah. But again, to your
Yeah.
point about this feeling like a PlayStation showcase, like yeah, that's what I was saying before too. That PlayStation sure as hell had a presence in this show. And then Nintendo had like one or two nights when they had a couple awards being shown, and everyone was like, "Where is Xbox?"
I
And
was about to I was about to say that PlayStation had a more of a presence than some people.
oh, it's no doubt. It's that's like the worst kept secret right now is that Xbox had nothing to show except Phil being in that seat, just enjoying the festivities and what's going on. And kudos to them, man. Kudos to them for doing that. Um, I just think it's really funny when people try to downplay the game awards, like, oh, it's not one of gaming's big events. It's like if that wasn't the case in Xbox, it wouldn't have revealed the Series X and S at this thing. But that's besides the point. To be honest, I can't really fault Xbox for not showing anything because what we've been saying for months now about Sony Studios and what they're working on, they're not ready.
Yeah.
And they want to show when it is ready. It doesn't matter if like Redfall is supposed to be Q1 or whatever the case may be. Like they're gonna show it when it's ready. So, and then when they do, it's gonna be like like I said, a flood of information. People are like, oh my god, there's so much to look excited for. So, I say for Xbox fans, just like hold on, man, just hold your horses, all right? Just relax. It's okay.
I think I
They'll get
think
there.
I think the major difference though is that like well, I guess it remains to be seen, but with with Sony's future games, but at least with this current regime with Herman Holst in charge of Worldwide Studios, it seems like, and I remember talking about this with Mr. Badbit, that it seems like they've definitely learned from their past in the sense of when to announce games and like when they actually come out. It's no longer the 3 to 4 years that we had to like for Last of Us Part Two, for instance, right?
Hmm.
3 years for Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, if you go back to the PS5 reveal showcase in 2020, a lot of those games are out now. And that's 2 years. That's a 2 year gap from announcement to release. And of course, you have things like, Pragmata that has obviously has extended past those 2 years. You have things like Forspoken that has obviously gone past those 2 years as well. But for the most part, you look at things like Stray, you look at things like Returnal, Ratchet, Horizon, God of War, Kena Bridge of Spirits. You could Gran Turismo 7, right? You can Demon Souls, Sackboy, Destruction All Stars. You can go down the list, and those things were announced in 2020, and they're already out, within those 2 years. So I I hope it's my hope that they continue that trend, right? So when they start announcing these projects in 2023, they come out within the next 2 years. As in you compare that to Xbox, they announced like a lot of their major first party stuff in 2020, and a lot of those things still aren't out, right?
Yeah, they're having a lot of
Um,
trouble.
so I mean, you talk about State of Decay 3, you talk about Fable, Hellblade 2 was announced in 2019. Let's not forget that 2019.
Yep, yep.
Uh,
I know.
uh,
That's I know
you
that's
know,
the crazy part. Do you think it's probably because they're switching to Unreal Engine 5?
who knows?
You
I
know?
mean, maybe, but I don't know. I just think that that game is just like they're just given a lot of time, and they're taking advantage of that probably.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but then you think of like Perfect Dark as well, which is a game I don't expect
Oh,
this. I don't think we'll see that in 2023 either.
oof.
Um,
Absolutely not.
I mean, Starfield was announced in goddamn 2018. I know that Microsoft didn't announce that, but you have that with Starfield, right? Don't get me started with Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh
Um,
man,
yeah,
Avowed
but
too. Yeah.
Avowed as well, Outer Worlds too. Yeah, I mean, my I bring all this up to say that like it definitely feels like those games will start to come out in 2023, 2024, but it's kind of crazy that they were announced in 2020, 2019, and we're still waiting on them, as opposed to PlayStation. It seems like they've definitely learned from those mistakes is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, and that's where the frustration comes in with like the fan base stuff like that. So you can't blame them, but for asking Xbox where are these things and all that junk. Yeah, I know it's. I think things are just getting muddy over there, man.
And
I'm trying to keep it positive, but man, and honestly it's kind of funny to see it kind of blow up in some fans' faces. I'm not gonna lie.
but and then I know you saw I was about to be mean, but I'll just say you saw Aaron Greenberg's doing his little song and dance on Twitter.
Oh man, that man's getting roasted. Oh yeah, X gonna give it to you. I'm sure. Yeah.
But yeah, man. So yeah, that definitely that wraps up us talking about PlayStation having a big presence there. But yeah, what other announcements stood out to you?
Dude, oh my god, there's so much. I mean, first Final Fantasy 16. We,
Yeah, what a trailer.
and this is, remember I said before the last year was like kind of like, it's good, right? This is the trailer where I was like, yo, this is the one I want to see that's going to get you hyped. Like, there's so much revealed in that trailer. Not just story point, but just kind of like what you're really going to be doing. Like, we got to look at the party system, Soul.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you about that. That was like our first time seeing the main character actually like fighting with like what actually looked like a party, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you look on the place for people that are interested, look in the PlayStation blogcast. They or blog post rather. They go a little bit more to detail about kind of like the little bit that party system. How Clive isn't really going to have your regular Final Fantasy roundabout cast where they're all kind of going about the different worlds and they just join in at random moments. Right. That's usually the kind of like the modus operandi for these JRPGs. But for this one, Clive's gonna have multiple different partners, similar to um, oh god, what's the other game? I can't. I'm blanking on it right now. But you're gonna go around to different multiple areas and they recruit different people at different times. They're gonna pop in and out. But like one of the most recurring party members is actually the dog.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is really cool. So it's making me think of Final Fantasy 7 Remake, where there's a point in time where you get Red 13 as a party member near the end of the game, and he was all AI. So a lot of the party members in 16 are going to be AI based. You cannot be able to play as these other characters, but I think it's okay considering the kind of game that 16 is. It's way more of a single character driven action game where you're going to focus on Clive more. But yeah, it reminded me more of 7 Remake in that sense where you got to see Red 13 fight and it was super cool to do like really fun cross attack counters, stuff like that. So it makes me think so if 16 is going to have the Chrono Trigger like combat system where we have combining attacks with other characters. I hope that's the case. That would be so
Yeah.
hype.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, other than that, we kind of like got a really good first look, and I'm excited for it, dude. June 22nd, they announced a collector's edition, and I am ready.
Dude,
I got my finger at the pulse on that one, dude.
dude, talk to me about that box art though. God damn.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wait, you talking about North American one or Japan?
I mean, I think they both look really cool, but the North
Yeah,
American one specifically, man.
that one goes
That's
hard.
I mean, that's again, we always talk about it, but that's why I try to stay physical as much as I can with these games with good box art.
Yeah, yeah. And this is actually the first time where I prefer the American box art to the Japanese box art for a Final
Yeah.
Fantasy game. And it's really because of just the way the characters are laid out, and it kind of reminds me of the poster you were making so for class, honestly, where you have the
Yeah.
main character up in the background and you have another character down below them, kind of like not as a silhouette, but like kind of like in the background, sort of compared to everything else that's going on. On the poster, but it's it rocks, man. I can't wait to actually dive into that collection edition if I'm able to get it. So it comes
Yeah.
with a statue of Ifrit and Phoenix fighting. Like, fuck, man. Like, I need that. I need that, man. As a Final Fantasy fan, I'll be so sad if I'm not able to get a chance to get that. But what a trailer! Amazing. June 22nd. So, what's your hype level for it?
Super hyped. It's a day one. Especially like loved seeing a lot more of the combat. Wanted to ask you, so is are we playing as two different characters because or is are we playing as a more grown up version of Clive eventually? Because it looked like we're playing as Clive, and then there's another character named Barnabas. Maybe it was just like the artwork that I saw him made him look like the older version of the protagonist. But is Barnabas also someone we're playing as?
I don't think so. I think Clive is the ultimate like main character you can be playing as, and you see the time lapse, right? You see Clive as a younger warrior that's protecting Joshua, who's like this prince, and then something happens to Joshua. Maybe he dies. Maybe something happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the entire story is on there. But case in point, it does jump forward to where Clive's an older adult and see like I guess maybe the significance of whatever happened to Joshua or the kingdoms and what the case may be. So I think Clive is the ultimate main protagonist. There is just that time jump that you're going to experiencing.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, I think it might have just been the official artwork that I saw that made Barnabas look like the older version of Clive, and maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Maybe, maybe.
Yeah, but yeah. Regardless, man. Dope trailer. Also, I gotta comment because I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but for whatever reason, game devs sort of like drip was a big thing that was being talked about before the show. Kotaku put out, of course, a Kotaku. They put out this article. They put out an article saying that game devs don't have any drip.
Jeez.
And
Okay.
I guess who they put on as the thumbnail?
It has to be Chris Judge.
No, this was before the Game Awards.
Oh, before. Oh, oof. I don't know.
They put Phil Spencer on the thumbnail.
No.
Yeah,
Oh no.
so like their big thing was that like, hey, if you look at prior Game Awards, game devs don't have any drip. So and yeah, they put
Jesus.
Phil out on the thumbnail. But then like after this Game Awards, I was like, yo, look at the way my guy Yoshi P is walking out right now.
Those are facts.
I was like, God damn, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That
yeah,
that man finished getting out of the indie office. He's like, I'm about to show these people up right now. Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yeah.
For real. Yeah, he showed them, man.
Facts.
But yeah, man, it was a great trailer. Yeah, really cool that they ended it off with that. But yeah, so I mean, aside from FF16, I mean, I guess the other big one for you is Hades 2, right?
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm playing it right now on screen, dude. Like, what a surprise! Like when you people are saying that there's not a lot of big things at the Game Awards this year, I immediately looked like, dude, Hades 2. But then you brought up like the whole, it's not like creating like that kind of waves, like which is true. But Hades 2, at least like in our gaming circle, right? This
Yeah,
is a
it's a
big
big
deal.
deal. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's Supergiant's first sequel, I want to say. And this one's really interesting too because if you actually go on the website, we're playing as Zagreus' sister. So the main character I'm playing as right now, you're gonna be playing as his sister in the sequel here, and it looks like
Gotcha.
she's gonna be trying to save Hades from Kronos. So I'm really interested to see what that's going to be all about, man. Obviously the art style is amazing. The music in the beginning of the trailer really hinted that this was going to be a Hades 2, and I was thinking like, oh, is this Hades 2? And Walt was like, nah, they don't do sequels. I was like, yeah, you're right. But then as soon as we got further in the trailer, I was like, no, come on, it has to be Hades 2. And then when we see that 2 logo just pop up in that beautiful ghostly green, I was like, oh man, yeah, that's it. That is the big announcement. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. So I guess as also as someone I need to play Hades now as well. But I guess as someone who hasn't played it yet, did the first one leave off in a way that like it made it seem like a sequel was coming? Because like obviously like a lot of people were caught off guard from this announcement, but by the way you're talking about it, it seems like not like a cliffhanger, but it does seem like it left room for the possibility of a sequel. Is that true?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're talking about Greek mythology here, you know?
Yeah.
So the the amount of content that's there and sort of different takes on their own Greek mythology. 'Cause the thing about Hades is that it's the same thing with God of War Ragnarok, how Santa Monica took their own kind of creative branch there with the Norse mythology. It's the same thing with Hades. So the Zacharias, I think he's an original character that they created. So the floodgates are really open for anything they want to do with the Greek mythology pantheon, and it's really exciting. So the end of Hades, which is a grind to do, but is still fun because of the randomness of like the procedural levels and stuff like that. It's worth doing if you end up playing, and it does leave room for a sequel. I will just say that. Like the ending is actually worth going to go see because it's really satisfying, and you can see them doing some more things with this. So while not,
Gotcha.
it's probably one of the biggest surprises. It's also like, yeah, that makes sense. So
Gotcha. That's awesome, man.
it
Yeah,
was great.
really excited for it, and really cool that that's Supergiant's first sequel.
Yeah, I mean, like how are you gonna follow up after Hades? You know,
Yeah.
like knowing whatever Supergiant was going to do is going to be amazing, but Hades is like really one of their knockout successes, and honestly, not doing a sequel, now that I think about it, probably makes less sense, or probably makes more sense rather than doing a full new IP.
Yeah, for sure.
And that thing goes in early access next year, so we probably won't be able to see a release till like 2024. The thing is about these games that they usually go into early access for at least a year, and then they get a full release 1.0 sometime afterwards. And I think what's that game that just came out? Have a Nice Death, I think it's called. We saw this
Uh-huh.
trailer before. Do you remember that?
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's very stylized in its art direction, and the combat looks insane. That entered. We saw a trailer for that maybe Summer Games Fest, and that entered early access last March, and it's getting a full 1.0 release this March. So I'll expect the same thing for Hades too. So you still got some time to play the first game.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, that's all I need to know, man. That I got time. I got time.
Yeah, you got a lot of
Um,
time.
yeah. But yeah, man, Hades 2 was definitely a nice surprise. I'm trying to think I mean, do you want to just get into Armored Core before we talk about Death Stranding?
I wanted to actually bring up real quick Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, this was the trailer I wanted to see because the one thing that we've been really wondering is like how what's the ante that they're going to pull in for Jedi Survivor? Like, what's the really big takeaway that's going to differentiate itself and make it bigger and better than the first one? On top of being just more cleaner gameplay, whatnot. It looks like they're going to a huge open zone. If you see in in one of the parts of the trailer where Cal is like hanging down from what was it from? I forgot what he was like hanging on to, but he's going down to this huge, expansive open area that looks. It could be deserted, it could be a town. I don't know what the case may be, but this whole trailer just got me so hyped for March 17th. Like I love Star Wars and I love Jedi Fallen Order, so I'm really excited to see where they go with this one. And they have a bunch of really cool surprises in there with the what's it called? The Kylo Ren lightsaber.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was super sick. Cal Kestis, man, like what a character. Probably one of my favorite like new Star Wars characters, right along Ahsoka. So excited to see what
Yeah.
they do with that.
Awesome. Yeah. Um I didn't play the first one. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll play this one either. Um I'm just like not in a very like Star Wars kind of like I haven't been in the Star Wars kind of mood or feeling for years. I think Rise of Skywalker just absolutely crushed whatever was left,
That's
whatever
fair.
was left of my love for Star Wars. Um, Even though I hear Andor is like exactly what I want from Star Wars right now, I just don't have Disney Plus, so like I can't watch it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well,
but
I read one comment on this. Like, someone was like, "Should I play this?" And someone was like, "If you hate the new Star Wars movies, you're gonna love this game."
yeah, yeah, I
So
probably should get to it because it's like $7 or something right now.
yeah, I would say yeah, it's like 750 for like the Ultimate Edition or something like that. I'd
Mm.
say do it, man. It's a great story. Cal's an amazing character. And you got a bunch of really cool side characters. There's gonna be a couple like really small grievances, like the map and a couple things that might like irk you a bit, but overall, like the platforming, the puzzles, the fighting gameplay is really satisfying. So I think if you were burnt out on Star Wars before, this is the one thing that's gonna get you back into it.
Yeah, yeah. I'll probably check it out. But yeah, man, that's what is it? Early March?
March 17th,
Okay, yeah.
countdown,
So,
countdown. So
man, dude. I mean, I feel like we always say this every year, but first half of the year, man, especially 2023.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so Jedi Survivor was another big announcement. Let's jump into Armored Core then.
All right.
Um, I am oh man, I'm not really excited for
I
this.
don't give a shit, bro.
I mean,
I'm gonna
like
be
I know
real. I don't give.
like I know that there's like a pedigree to Armored Core, obviously, right? I mean, it's kind of like what it's not like what they started on, right? But it was like one of their first things that got their name out there, I
Hmm.
think. But like I don't just mechs don't really do it for me. I'll reserve like total 100% judgment until I see gameplay, obviously. But so far, like aesthetic wise, there were some really cool shots in this trailer. Don't get me wrong, but like I don't know, mechs have never really done it for me. Like even like mech anime, like I usually stay away from that genre because like I don't know, aside from Code Geass, but like in general, like mech stuff just doesn't really like Voltron and even Transformers, right? Like I don't know,
Yeah.
I just don't really get too excited about that kind of stuff.
No, I'm the same way, and I kind of confirmed that when I started watching the Transformers anime on Netflix. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be dope. It's like a new story, and it's like a trilogy series." So I'm looking forward to trying it out. And I got really bored. It's just not for me. So for Armored Core, I looked at that and I was like, "Okay, cool." I know people were talking about it for the longest time too, and were really excited that it was actually happening. But for me, I just really don't care. I even looked at gameplay before, and I was like, "This is what people are excited about."
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's just not for me overall. And so honestly, it's gonna be a FromSoft game. I'm probably gonna be skipping unless I look at gameplay and it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. One thing that we do know about that game though is that the creative designer for Sekiro is working on it as a director. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's an important thing that Miyazaki is not directing this one.
right, right.
Yeah, so very very interesting. Which I mean again like it's crazy that like but this almost feels like old from soft like mid 2000s from software when or 2010s from software when they were able to pump these games out like really quick. So it's crazy that Elden Ring, their biggest game ever, comes out in this year, and they're immediately following it up with another game.
Yeah,
You would
next year,
also,
right?
yep, and then you would also assume that there's some Elden Ring DLC maybe in the works.
I mean, they just released Elden Ring DLC though. So
But like I mean like you know like something like the Old Hunters DLC from Bloodborne, right? Like something on that scale, right? Where there's new bosses, there's a brand new area to explore, that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, one would hope, honestly. One would
Yeah.
hope because
Um.
there's obviously a lot more to delve into that, and yeah, I really wonder what they're gonna do. And knowing that knowing Miyazaki is probably gonna have a swamp level in another millennia.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, man. So that is Armored Core. We will hopefully see more of it soon. Um, let's get into Death Stranding 2, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm excited for
DS2.
this.
Yeah, so yeah, Kojima came up on stage or so Jeff Keighley, he did the rigmarole saying that this is from one of our most innovative studios in the industry.
He did
All
that
that.
twice actually, which is funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Um so yeah, he did that and then, the trailer started and like immediately for me at least, that once that song started playing, it's a song that I've listened to a lot in my car, especially BB's theme.
Yeah, oh, it's so good.
BB's theme, man. That's that.
It rocks.
Yeah, it goes hard. And hearing Troy Baker do the rendition of it too.
I was all
Yeah.
about
So
that. I saw some people complain about that, but I was like, no, that dude, he rocked it, man.
yeah, for sure.
Especially the
So
melody, the like right when
yeah,
Fragile's riding the bike, I was like, oh damn.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, the moment I started hearing that, I was like, okay, it's Death Stranding. And then you see like the little handprints on like the little height or like the little ruler or whatever.
Yeah,
You see
that
the
was a dead giveaway for me.
yeah with the little two on it. Yeah, come on. Um,
There he goes.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
it.
So
Kojima knows what he's
yeah,
doing, man. He knows what he's doing.
for sure. Um, so yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really, really cool like tone setter for the trailer. There was some I can't even like describe the one shot of like those people in those like red like hoods walking in like a desert, and you see that like weird structure in the background. Do you remember that
Yeah,
shot?
yeah, dude. That's what made me think it wasn't Death Stranding.
Right? Like that just seems like it was just on another world entirely. Like I don't know, man. Like I'm really excited to see where he takes this. Because like it just feels like I don't know how you feel, but it feels like this can't just be another Death Stranding 1 situation.
Yeah, he
Like
can't be
you
like a UPS package delivery guy. Right.
that's it feels like he's setting this up to be a lot more than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know how you feel about that, but that's the vibe that I get from this trailer already. It just already seems vastly different from that first game.
I 100% agree with you. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. I was like, he can't do another package delivery guy for Death Stranding 2. And that structure you were talking about before, it makes me think that we're not in America. So
Maybe, yeah.
I wonder if we're going global with this next one.
Yeah, I mean that giant vehicle that showed up at the end of the trailer. Maybe that's like our way of like going from place to place, like
Yeah, yeah.
places like overseas, maybe. Um, but yeah, I mean it was really cool to see it. I wonder what happened to Sam because it looks like Sam has been like in hiding or something. Um, after the events of the first game, maybe I don't know. Regardless, just what a cool announcement having it seems like Leia Seydoux may be the lead because like on all the promotional not all of them but like the major promotional image that we got for the game that has like DS2 on it, like she's front and center, it's like maybe
Yeah.
she's the lead.
That which would be so exciting because we don't even know what Elle Fanning plays into all this either.
Right, and Shioli as well. We don't know what her role in this. I my assumption is that because you hear Leia Seydoux, Fragile, you hear Fragile say to Sam, "I want you to meet my team," right? So obviously time has passed between the first and the second game, and it makes me think that Fragile Express is no more, and she has started this new company, Drawbridge, and
Mm.
who knows what Drawbridge is doing, what their purpose is, or what they're doing exactly. But it seems like they have like a small little startup group with a Drawbridge, and that's who she's referring to. That like, yeah, I want you to meet my team, and I'm guessing that's where Elle Fanning and Shioli's character will be. That they're like a part of this like little team.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. That's super exciting, honestly. I mean, we're both kind of not lukewarm. Like we came away from Death Stranding on a positive note, but we something we don't need to go back to, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's a game that I liked enough to see it all the way through. Um, but it's yeah, as you said, it's a game that I wouldn't play again.
Yeah, yeah. I know some people were like, "Man, I need to go back to Death Stranding and beat." 'Em." I'm like, "Good luck," because that
Yeah.
snow section is pretty rough, but it's really good. Um, Let me see. The one guy, running gamer, who's up in the comment section here. Appreciate you guys for watching. Remember to hit that like button. He says my assumption is when bridges and fragile merge, maybe that is a drawbridge as a logo depicted two bridges together.
Ooh, maybe.
Good,
Yeah,
good
that
looks.
yeah, that would be very interesting. And it's also like I like the reminder that the BTs are still like a thing in this universe. Like we're not like we're very much like in case anyone forgot, like we're still very much in that Death Stranding universe. Like Kojima is not walking away from that because as you see, it's a small detail, but as you see that giant vehicle like come up from the water, you can see the sort of like BTs, the like people looking things like in the water, like trying to like crawl out. So like I thought that was a really cool little detail that like oh no like these things are still a part of this world, that it's still a thing that these people need to like navigate. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's really cool to see them still here. I'm very curious about like just like Lou and like BB, like what role is that gonna play in this game? Because like we see like the tentacle like little squid thing inside of the little BB pod,
yeah,
uh, and then also we also see like a weird like inky baby with like wings on its back in the BB pod, and like it could have been like the I don't think it's the baby that that Fragile was holding in the beginning of the trailer, because like that baby was big, man. Like that big ass baby can't fit in that pod. So like it looked like there's like another baby in the BB pod, but like it also has like little wings on its back. And it was like all inky and stuff. Like I don't know, man. Like there's a lot of like interesting stuff going on here. But again, like as we said at the beginning of this conversation, the shot with those red hooded figures, like almost like gave me some sort of like religious kind of cult feeling or whatever. But like, and like they were like carrying like almost like a coffin, like a red coffin across
yeah,
this desert. Like that stuff is like what I'm most interested in, because it definitely feels like, the first game took place in the US, and it definitely feels like, okay, we are expanding beyond the US. So like what does the rest of the world of Death Stranding look like in comparison to the sort of disconnected US, right? That's what I'm really curious to see, is like, okay, what does like Europe in this world look like? What does, Africa in this world look like, right?
yeah. It goes it. You know what it kind of reminds me of, actually, The Last of Us with the clickers, where
Mm,
in every part, like in every like part of the U.S. or even just in the world, we're gonna see different kinds of clickers or evolved clickers based on like how long they've been there, and just them adapting to the entire region, kind of having a sort of evolution phase. So, with Sam being as old as he looks in Death Stranding 2, it makes me wonder about the actual enemies of the world and like how they're gonna evolve along with everything else. So, yeah, man, I can tell you right now, Soul, you're not gonna expect what's coming in Death Stranding 2.
oh, for sure, for sure.
There's
Yeah.
like, I feel like as much as flag as Kojima gets for like his ego or the case may be, you can't deny that that man's imagination leaves everything on the table. Like there's no way to like really see what's going to happen with the game. So that's honestly one of the most exciting things about his games.
Yeah, definitely.
So Death Stranding's like, I can't wait. And this is a PS5 exclusive, right?
I mean, yeah, they didn't put PS4 on there, so
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. A lot of the stuff that was shown at Game Awards were PS5 exclusive, which is interesting.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, even the Horizon DLC is not coming to PS4.
Yeah, yeah, it's, and which I would say too, because one person that we're streaming the not streaming, we were watching the Game Awards with, asked if they can cross over their saved from the PS4 version to the PS5 for Horizon 2, and I believe there's a yes, I believe there's a cross save there, but um, yeah,
Yeah,
so PS5 exclusives all around, baby.
yes, sir. So yeah, that was a very cool announcement to see. When are you expecting this thing to come out? Because it's been 3 years since the release of the first game. Um, but I also feel like things have been weird because, like, remember, Kojima had that other project that he was working on that was canceled, that we think was with Google Stadia, but then I think he came out and said that like it wasn't with Google Stadia. But he
Mm.
did have a project that was canceled because I remember him tweeting about it. He was like, "I just had a project of mine canceled. I'm pissed," or something like that. So like, so he definitely had that in between. It's like I wonder if that kind of like I'm just curious if like did he immediately start Death Stranding 2 after the first one, or did he after he finished the first game, he worked on something else that got canceled, and then he went to Death Stranding 2. So like, I'm very curious. I don't think we'll ever know for sure, but like, I do wonder like, what is the timeline of, you know, going from Death Stranding 1 to Death Stranding 2? So for that reason, I think this game is like a early 2024 game, but who knows?
Yeah, I think you're on the money there. I have no idea if we're gonna see this thing in 2023. I don't think we will, but yeah, I agree with you in the fact that this is like a 2024 game. So got another in the pipeline.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's really cool to see, and again, just kind of fills out just a little bit more of PlayStation's future lineup for sure. And also, I mean, I think we've kind of talked about this a lot. This idea that people are scared that Sony is leaning too much into live service, right? But again, I think this just goes again. This supports that no, they're going to be doing both of these things, and to see Death Stranding 2 pop up, I think is a nice reassurance that like, yes, they are dabbling in live service, but they are not leaving behind those classic single player high quality games that we all know and love, right?
Correct, correct. Wait, so you're telling me they're not creative bankrupt? Hold up.
Nope. Nope.
Goddamn. Okay. All
Which
right. All
is
right. All right.
which is also crazy that they would, because people. I was watching a lot of reactions and people were like, "Wow, they actually greenlit a sequel to Death Stranding," like,
Like, yes,
yeah,
sir. Yes, they did.
right? Like, yes, like Sony's not afraid to back, wild and crazy ideas. So, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, I think the PC release of Death Stranding really kind of resounded in that. I mean, I'm sure they greenlit a sequel to Death Stranding 2 way before then, but I think the release on PC definitely made them more like, okay, yeah, this is the right decision.
yeah,
Because the PC response to Death Stranding was so great, and the game plays so amazingly with like all the extra PC features, stuff like that. So, and Death Stranding getting its own re-release on PS5, from what I've heard, the DualSense is like immaculate with that.
yeah,
So, whew, Kojima's gonna do something crazy with the DualSense for Death Stranding 2. Just believe that, man.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, man, that is Death Stranding 2. I guess we can. I mean, I feel like there's not really much to say about the Horizon DLC. I mean, do you have anything to say?
No, no, it was a very small trailer, right? It's the
Yeah.
next expansion coming next April. Um, Obviously, it's going to be PS5 exclusive, and just to expect more greatness from that. Honestly, Horizon 2 is an amazing game. Despite it not winning any awards, I think having nominations as many stuff as it did this year is a testament to how great of a game that is. So the expansion is going to be even better. The one thing we can't say about it, though, Soul, is that it takes place the after Forbidden West.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we're gonna see why Aloy's actually going to this specific part of California with the Hollywood symbol, which is really Hollywood sign, which is really cool. And what's gonna be followed up to the actual end of the game for people. I won't say it for people that haven't played it yet. But yeah, it leads off on a very interesting note. So I wonder how they're all gonna react to that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it's nice to hear that because I feel like Frozen Wilds for Zero Dawn was one of those DLCs that like, um, it took place before the ending of the game, so it was like a little weird, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, to hear that this is almost like an epilogue kind of thing, I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's honestly that's probably the most exciting thing for me, in all
Yeah,
honesty. So I think that's gonna be really awesome.
yeah, for sure. Um, are there any other announcements that you want to talk about before we kind of get to these winners?
Yeah, I wanted to actually really quick about two games I thought looked really cool and kind of keep my eye on. The Lords of the Fallen and the new Hellboy game.
I don't I don't remember Lords of the Fallen.
The
Uh,
trailer.
yeah, I
Oh
don't remember it.
no, it looked
Yeah.
really cool. Honestly, it if they could fix up, from what I'm hearing, if they could fix up like the actual movement of the first game, this could probably be a standout for 2023. Just by the design alone, how it looks and the creative aspects of it, like it looks insane. I'll check out the trailer for you. You'll be so into this.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I vaguely remember it, but not enough to like actually like comment on it. The Hellboy one was like I I don't know, man. Like I can't decide if I like the art style for that game or not. But then also like the combat looked just like really slow and sluggish, which I guess it makes sense for that character, right?
Right.
Um, but then also we didn't see him with his guns either. So like I don't know, man. Like I seeing that trailer, like it was cool. First of all, that a Hellboy game is even coming out, but like seeing that trailer didn't convince me to get it. Like I still need to see more from that game, I think.
Yeah, I think they have an uphill battle because that gameplay stuff was cool, but it was very short, and obviously they could delve a lot more into it. So, but it was interesting that they chose to have a over-the-shoulder third person. It looks like a brawler for Hellboy. So, yeah, yeah, that's all I wanted to ask really, just on those two games and the fact that Kevin Conroy is going to come back as Batman in Suicide Squad, and I thought that was a really nice touch. We didn't cover in the podcast, which I regret. I remember that entire week, which is so busy. But it's really cool that we're getting another Kevin Conroy performance as Batman, and his last one essentially before his death. So um, while me and Walt talked about it too, it doesn't really we're not going to be hitting that pre-order button for Suicide Squad, but I think regardless, we can look forward to another performance from Kevin and a grittier sort of look for Batman, right? Like he looks
Yeah,
evil, so it's gonna be
yeah,
interesting to see what they do with that.
for sure, for sure. And it's that's exactly how he should look to villains, right? So I thought that was a really cool, kind of cool thing. Um, but yeah, man. So let's jump into some of these awards.
Real quick, actually, real quick. Street Fighter Six.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, that trailer, man. We got like three different characters in one. We got four characters, then three new characters set up. I want to see what you thought of Marissa.
Was she the one with like the blue pants, right?
No. That's I think that's I forgot her name, but she's more of the ballerina. I'm talking about the beefcake woman.
Oh, yeah, I saw.
Yeah. I know
Yeah,
you're
I remember
tight,
her.
buddy. Or is
Yeah,
that
I remember
Walt?
her. Hey man, I could do with a beef one too. So
Hey yo,
yeah, yeah, I can make it work.
I can. This man. Oh
Um,
man, I respect it.
but yeah, it was cool. It was cool to see so many characters all at once be kind of announced. That was pretty nuts.
Yeah, I mean that's again day one. I'm so excited for that release. I'm not gonna do physical though because that box art is garbage, dog. We just talked about box art for Final Fantasy 16. It's six or Street Fighter 6 just looks. It's just Luke on the cover giving a I just farted kind of face with the thumbs
Oh
up.
man,
It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. I'm so surprised it was a game with so much style that it has a really mediocre box art. But I don't know if you saw it, but I wanted to get your take on just Street
oh
Fighter 6 in
yeah,
general.
I saw it. I saw it, and it was pretty whack. I'm not gonna lie.
Right? Okay, yeah. And
What? And
yeah.
he's like one of the new characters, right?
Yeah, he was a new character in Street Fighter 5 and a headliner for 6.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
So I mean, I guess that explains why they. But like, also like, is he even like a fan favorite or anything since he's so new?
he was hated in 5 because how broken he was. And
Okay. So
people warmed up to him in 6 because he actually is more fun to play and he's actually like a really cool character. Once you take away the whole kind of sort of like face layered of it being another like blonde hair, blue eye kind of sort of character in Street Fighter, but yeah, people were kind of more upset the fact that he was on the cover, and not like super stylized like Street Fighter Third Strike or something like that. So,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
but yeah,
Yeah, it
that's all
just
about it.
I just yeah, I just feel like man, they should have put like Ryu and Chun Li on there or something, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know, understand why they didn't go with like any. I guess because again, Luke is their headliner, but still, man, like there's so many cool looking characters. Like they could just put the whole roster on there and people would have been okay with that. But I don't know. But yeah, that's all I
Yeah.
wanted to mention for Street Fighter Six. If unless you had anything else.
No, I didn't. So let's get into the awards. I think it sucked seeing both a Plague Tale and the Horizon get not win anything. I don't think Xenoblade won anything either, right?
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, no, those three that were nominated did not win a thing.
Yeah, which the one thing is that like I really did think art direction and action adventure was Horizon's only chance of winning something. As soon as those two went to Elden Ring and God of War, I was like, all right, Horizon's not getting anything tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, to go through some of these categories, what did you think of Multiversus winning best fighting game? Was that kind of what you expected?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, while we're watching it, I told Walt I was going to choke him if Sifu won. Um, and I'm glad it didn't. As much as I love, and Sifu didn't win a damn thing either, which is sad.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm happy it didn't win best fighting game, but the fact that Multiverses won is like really cool. That game has been like, it's been a high ride for the entire year, being one of the first free to play platforming fighting games to reach the numbers that it did. Again, it's nothing to really scoff at. Developers are absolutely looking at that and seeing what they're going to do with their franchises. Not particularly Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or even Tekken, right? Because those are like in their own league, but more startup fighting game players. Like I can see the next Killer Instinct, for instance, being another free to play game. The first one was from Xbox or from like 2013, whatever. But I can see them doing that same route and having like a really nice and lengthy roadmap for that game, like how Multiverse is doing it, because those numbers, man, were insane. And the thing is, it has a lot to do with presence online, right? And the fact and presence in the fighting game community. They were big at Evo. They had, even though they weren't in the actual top spots for the actual Evo tournament, they still showed up. They had a huge presence there. They had a lot of social media following. They had streamers commentating on it and all this stuff. So again, that's like a blueprint for a lot of devs going forward. You can expect the same thing for Project L, which just got a development update too. So the fact that I won Fighting Game of the Year, I think it's really cool.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, that was cool to see. What were some of the other awards that stood out to you? Obviously, we saw Stray win. I think both best. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Both best debut and best indie.
That was wild to me.
Yeah, I mean,
That was wild. I really felt bad for Sifu because that game is just so good. Not even that. Code of the Lamb 2, I thought was a shoe in for debut indie. I thought that
oh
was. I thought that was absolutely gonna win.
yeah, I thought that was gonna win. Yeah, for sure,
But
because
for
everyone loved it.
yeah, I don't know, but that was the one that was really interesting for sure. That was like, okay, this is what are we doing here? What are we doing here, Jeff? Hold on. Everyone just loved this cat game. Like honestly, so was it that great? Was straight that good?
Nah, you know my opinion on that game.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a great time with it, but yeah, not. I don't think it really deserves to. I mean, it just feels like Cult of the Lamb is something that was more of like. It sounds so weird to say more of a game, but I don't know. It just feels like the way people talked about that, it felt like Cult of the Lamb should have been like it should have actually been in Game of the Year, the discussion instead of Stray.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that for sure. It's just again, we talk a lot when we talk about these awards. It's and who is nominated and stuff like that. We talked about it before about impact, right? And it feels like
Yeah,
Cole Lamb had way more of an impact than Stray, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that one.
yeah, maybe.
So
But yeah, man. So that was for Stray. Best sim slash racing or sports slash racing went to Gran Turismo 7.
Yeah,
Um,
PlayStation took home a lot of awards. On top of it being a a PlayStation Showcase Game Awards.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad it wasn't just, all God of War. I'm glad Gran Turismo got in there and won something as well.
For
But
sure.
yeah, so that was that one. And then after that, a best family went to Kirby, right?
Yeah, yeah. Where's Walt when you need him? That Kirby fanatic was hoping for that. I kid you not, man. When we were watching it, he started screaming, and one of our friends was like, "Walt, turn down your goddamn mic. You're too loud." My man was so happy Kirby got an award.
Yeah, good, good, good for him, that little freak. Uh, um, so yeah, that was best family. Best action, which was cool because we had both Joel and Ellie from the HBO series and the games come out to present this one.
That was my heart was full when I
Yeah,
saw that.
it was cool, man.
My heart was
S-
really full, and to see them kind of in unison doing their awards. Like that was something. I'd also get the blessing from Troy and Ashley, right? To be like, we saw the show. You guys are Joel and Ellie. And I was like, oh man, we're in
yeah,
for a ride, man. On top of that Last of Us trailer that debuted earlier this week. Oof.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, yeah, so it went to Bayonetta, which was cool to see.
I was so not happy with that.
Oh, you wanted it to go to Sifu?
I wanted to go to Sifu, and on top of the complaints I had with Bayonetta before, that I talked about in the podcast about with certain parts of that game. Like I guess kudos to them on that one, but man, I was really hoping for Sifu in that case. That was just to me that was like the better, more rounded experience than Bayonetta was. But again, I didn't finish Bayonetta 3, but it's also because I got bored. But yeah, I was really hoping for Sifu in that one.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's totally fair. Audio design went to God of War Ragnarok, which
Surprisingly,
yeah, I really thought that Horizon had a chance with that one as well, maybe. Um, but I'm not mad at it, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like Horizon could have snuck in for that one.
100%.
Um,
Yeah.
Best score slash music, God of War Ragnarok as well. I'm not, again not one I'm gonna complain about. But I think I said on the podcast as well that I would have loved Plague Tale to win this one, but I'm not gonna complain about God of War, especially like as I've continued to hear this soundtrack more and more. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, to be fair though, this was a really tough category because we're talking about Xenoblade 3, and now Xenoblade fans are up in arms because of one award they could have gotten, um, got snubbed from them because that soundtrack's really great too. But I'm with you; it could have been any one of them, and but I am glad God of War did win because you got a little bit of a taste of the lyrical song from Hosier and that performance, man.
Yeah, it was good. It went hard, man. It went hard.
Oh, just wait till you actually hear it in the game. It's
Ah, can't wait.
It's incredible. It's incredible stuff, especially the lyrics and everything. That whole me and Walt were laughing too because Bear McCree was going in on that instrument he had. He loves that little thing, dude.
Oh yeah,
he
that's a Bear McCreary classic right there. Even with the Black Sails soundtrack, he uses
yeah.
that a lot.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
no, that's his signature, man. He like I said, he loves that little thing. Even watching an interview with Dominic Monaghan and Billy Boyd on their podcast, and Bear was guest starring on it, and he was talking about that instrument, how much he loves doing it, how much of a callback it is to like the tradition and sort of like the Scottish heritage and stuff like that. So it's really cool to see that kind of representation of him just going in on that stage, just head rocking like he has a freaking electric guitar or something. It was dope.
yeah, yeah. It was yeah, it was really cool. I'm excited to hear that song for sure. Um, yeah. So that was for best music slash score. Action adventure also went to God of War Ragnarok. Um,
Yeah, another one that could have been Horizon, honestly.
I know because I feel like when I think about specifically the word adventure, like I just think about Horizon a little bit more, you know?
No, me and Walt were with you on that one. Yeah, we all agreed that Horizon should have probably got that one if anything.
Yeah, for sure.
But can't doubt the other adventures that are in that category too. I mean, Elden Ring, God of War, you really can't go wrong with either of them. But yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, so that was for action adventure, and then I guess the last few, I mean, narrative also went to God of War Ragnarok, which I mean, I feel like undisputed. You can't complain about that.
100%, dude. The again, there's so many layers to the story itself, and just the characters and their own motives. Like this, it's one of those games. I feel like with Elden Ring, they have the multiple endings part of it, which allows those replays, um, and those unique replays. I'll say that. But with God of War Ragnarok, the more you end up diving into the narrative in certain scenes, the more you realize what's happening, what's going on. It's one of the reasons why actually I'm loving my reread of the Lord of the Rings books, because every time you pick up that book and or any one of those books, you're getting a lot more than what you initially start out with when you're first reading them. So that's the same thing with God of War Ragnarok. You're getting a lot more context, a lot more um, character, motivations, and all the sort of things with Ragnarok. So I won't say any more, but man, it's one experience. It's one of the reasons why I want to go back to playing it again so badly.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, it's just been the entire thing has just been top tier, man. Like, just kudos to that team for their work on that.
Yeah.
Um, also, best accessibility. Obviously went to God of War Ragnarok. I really thought it could have been a toss up for Ragnarok and The Last of Us Part One, but I think at the end of the day, the right game won for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I really thought Last was Part One was going to take that after you told us about the Braille and the DualSense.
Yeah, yeah,
I, man, that still blows my mind. So,
yeah. It's cool.
it's really cool. But yeah, either way, could have been either one.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was that one, and then I mean, obviously, last three. First one, best performance, Christopher Judge. Obviously, even though I love Charlotte from who played Amicia in A Plague Tale. I love her. Also really liked Ashley Birch in as Aloy in Horizon. But for me, it was between Amicia and Kratos, and obviously I got to give it to Kratos.
Yeah. Again, one of these days when we do a spoiler cast, we'll get more into that because anything I say more is going to be a spoiler. So,
Yeah, for sure. I also really liked during Chris Judge's speech. And he had talked about this previously, but he said back in 2018 when Corey pulled him aside and said that he wouldn't be directing the next one, Chris Judge actually quit. And then Corey was like, "No, like trust me, I vouch for Eric Williams." And then Chris Judge was like, "Well, Eric Williams, he has to be a beast. He has to be a beast then if I'm gonna be working with him." And then he like paused on stage and he looked to the crowd. He was like, "Eric Williams is a motherfucking beast."
probably one of the most wholesome laughs I've had in that entire show.
Yeah, it was such a good moment, man. Um, so yeah, yeah. So great to see him get that, which I imagine will be the first of many as award season starts to kick back up next year. Um,
Yeah, can we talk a little about the length of that man's speech, man?
go ahead. What do you got? What do you got?
That that man went on for ages, and me and Walt were like, "Okay, it's great. Let's get his bars off. He's winning the award." Blah blah blah. He did like such a great job too. We were so happy for him. But yeah, it was one of those things where we're just like, "Geez, all right, dude. The time's running out." Even Jeff Key was like, "All right, I think he was trying to give away a couple more Steam decks." But yeah, we were just surprised how long they actually went on, and even the music started playing, and he still went on. I was like, Jesus, bro, come on, all right, you're good, you're good. But but yeah, it was one of those things in like the Game Awards. I was like, well, it's the Game Awards, so so we kind of expect a little bit of that. We honestly, thankfully, that and Bill Clinton gave were the only like weird things about this show, really. But
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, and then I guess next, we should. So after, I mean, the last two is best direction and game of the year, and that obviously went both to Elden Ring. So, do you think the right game won?
You want me to answer that?
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus, no.
Go ahead and stall a little bit. I gotta go really quickly. I'll be back
Okay.
in like 1 minute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so much to delve. I mean, the thing is, we talked about on this podcast too, of like this year's particularly was very interesting for the Game Awards because it wasn't like 2018 where we had God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2 both excelling their own genres, right? But they're in one genre, the over-the-shoulder action adventure, third-person narrative-driven story game, right? So those games were kind of butting heads, but this year was Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok. We already know what God of War Ragnarok is, and Elden Ring is the open world RPG, Dark Souls adventure, that people started falling in love with more and more after Bloodborne. So, with Elden Ring making such an impact in the industry and really opening the doors to a lot of people, right? I mean, we can't underestimate the value of its impact. I think this Game Awards was a testament to that. So I really think that the Game of the Year in game direction was really adhering to the impact of Elden Ring, despite our grievances with the game, which we said numerous times in this podcast already. When it comes to like just the boss fights and the music and some when the performance first was happening in the beginning of its release, that it was very all over the place. It wasn't like the best performing game when it came out, but I think all the negatives really kind of didn't, not that it didn't matter, but it didn't weigh out all the positives that game brought to the table. And so I mean, kudos to Elden Ring and for them to actually doing that. When I heard it, I wasn't like, oh no, like it was very much happy for FromSoft for getting another dub in the Game Awards and to have their game recognized so immensely. And again, this year was super tough. Keep in mind, this year was extremely tough for when it comes to the competition. We had a slew of an amazing games, and I think 2022 is honestly one of the best years for gaming in terms of creativity and like all the types of variety of games that we got. And it's pretty amazing what this industry can put out. And again, the nominations this year was more than a testament to that. So kudos to Elden Ring for winning Game of the Year and Game Direction, man. Again, I don't think to me, it's not my personal Game of the Year, but I do think it's a good thing that it did win. So my personal pick, I think, will be God of War Ragnarok. Just overall, hands over fist. That one to me is like one of the best games of the year for sure. And yeah, I mean, that's really all I gotta say for the Game of the Year stuff. Overall, it's just awards, So I think the recognition is super important, but we also got to keep in mind that is like one vague look at our industry. There's so much more to video games, and but it's good to recognize, the best in class, and all the games that are nominated were that. So, but yeah. So you back?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
All right. So tell me what your thoughts on Elden Ring winning, taking the cake for Game of the Year, despite like that game winning Game of the Year and Best Game Direction. God of War took home 6 awards, which was nothing to scoff at
Yeah,
either.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you echoed a lot of my thoughts as well. Like, I have a lot of issues with Elden Ring as well. But like, when I think about that game, like just the impact that game had, like to to me, and again, this kind of goes back to like what we talked about, like what does it mean to be Game of the Year? And like, I don't necessarily think it's like the game that gets like the highest Metacritic, even though Elden Ring did get the highest Metacritic this year. Like I also just think about like general impact. Like what did that game do for the industry? What was like did it have like a ripple effect on the industry? Was it able to sort of like outreach the normal like gaming audience and kind of like attract players who would never play this game before? Like this thing hit at just as I was starting school, and like I shit you not, Macho, like the people who were playing on their expensive ass laptops during a lecture, during or a 4 hour lecture, or just on their laptops watching videos of players going up against bosses and stuff like that. the conversations that people were having in while I'm in this class about Elden Ring. I was talking to people who had never played a From Software game ever before, and Elden Ring was their first one.
Mm.
Just taking all of that into account, like, to me there was really like no other option. Like I had personally have never like been a part of something like or seen something like that like happening in real time. Like it was wild, man. Like being in like that like March April kind of period when people were still playing this thing, like it was wild, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be fair too, and to your point on that, Elden Ring was one of the first things that me and my coworkers talked about when I first started working at my job. Which is
Yeah.
like to me, it's like that's a huge barrier breaker for me because I rarely talk about games at my job or with coworkers, whatever the case may be. So the fact that one of them that knew I played games was like, "Oh, have you played Elden Ring?" And I was like, "Yeah. What do you know about Elden Ring?" It's like one of those things where it's like, "What do you know about that game?" Yeah, it's created waves. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, but I really don't think that there was like another choice, to be frank. Um yeah, I mean like when you again, just when you think about like when you think about pure impact, like I don't think that there was another game this year that just like really just did that for the industry like this one did.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, regardless of kind of like our grievances with it, we can recognize what it is. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Um yeah, but I mean regardless, congrats to God of War for taking as much as it did, and congrats to Elden Ring as well for just being, despite our issues with it, just being an experience. It was fun to be a part of, honestly.
yeah, 100%. Just the whole zeitgeist of it all was immensely satisfying.
And like I don't know if you saw this because I know you're not on Twitter much anymore, but like man, like people were really pitting these two games against each other, and like were like the amount of people who were mad when God of War would take an award when they thought Elden Ring should have taken it, and it's just like you see after the awards show Santa Monica congratulating From Software, and then From Software congratulating Santa Monica, right? And it's just like, why are we pitting these two games together or making them out to be like enemies or like fighting each other on Twitter when it's like it is just not like that for these two teams, you know? Like it's super weird that it's like these people are like fighting a battle that is just like non-existent, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's. I'm not even gonna get into it. I know a couple podcasts and influencers out there that were pumping their fists when God of War didn't win Game of the Year, and I thought it was really pathetic. And it's
Yeah.
purely because that it was a PlayStation game and whatever the case may be. Yeah, it's honestly very petty, and it's one of the reasons why I will stop watching certain podcasts. So
Yeah, it's very weird to me. Just like and again, it's just an award show. Like it's like these things aren't meant to be taken that seriously either. Like Elden Ring winning Game of the Year is not going to make me all of a sudden change Divinity Original Sin 2 be my Game of the Year. You know what I mean? Like people put
right.
so much stake into these things. Like it's just so odd, man. And it's just the funniest thing because like these people are friends of they're friends with each other. Like Corey, after 2018 shipped, he took a picture with Miyazaki at From Software. Like these people are friends. Like they're not enemies. It's just so weird.
Yeah, I know it's really odd. I think one of the podcasts I was watching, they asked a valid question. Um, well, I mean, I think it's a curiosity was valid. Of does winning Game of the Year or not winning Game of the Year for God of Ragnarok take away from all the other awards that it won? And that's a resounding no. I was saying before too. So that the fact that these games were nominated, I think it's enough recognition for them. Winning is like the icing on the cake, but that's obviously everyone wants to win the game. Even Joseph Farah's like, "Oh, you want to win? Trust, you want to win," but it's the nomination itself that's like an honor, to be honest. You know, um, it's like getting on the honor roll at school, and like you're like, "Oh, that's great, I got on the honor roll," but obviously everyone wants to be valedictorian. So, but yeah, I don't think it takes away from their wins at all. Again, the nomination itself, it's it's an honor there. But and a lot of people were upset too about Horizon Forbidden West not winning anything. And again, it goes back to my argument that again the fact that it got nominated among all these other games this year just really proves like how much it was of a juggernaut. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough year, honestly. So like, I honestly don't blame it at all.
Yeah, and I just really wish it's not gonna happen, but I really wish like those camps would just cease to exist. Like stop. I'm going, I'm going real hard with that one. I wish y'all would just cease to exist. And then like, we just got. I'm not even gonna get any more into it. It's so frustrating. Like, why do that? I don't get it.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean that pretty much. I guess we got to talk about the Bill Clinton kid. So
Hell
okay,
yeah, we
so
gotta talk about the Bill Clinton kid. Are you kidding me?
yeah. So this would be the last thing that we talk about before
Yeah.
we probably get out of here. But did you notice it as it happened? Because like as soon as they started walking up the stage, I was like, my mind was like, there is one thing here unlike the others. Like there is something here that is sticking out like a sore thumb. Like what when I saw him walking up that stage, I was like, I wonder what he did on this team. And what's funny, like what it like this kid was so smooth because what's funny is that like and then you could go back and see this in the footage is that like when they're walking up the stage he like puts his hand on like some of the devs back and like almost like he's like ushering them to like go ahead of him. He's like
Yeah, no,
almost
he had a plan.
yeah. So he's like, yeah, go ahead, go in front of me, you know. And then he was like the last one to get up on the stage, and I was just like, man, dude, that is so funny.
Dude, we when Miyazaki was giving the speech and the translator was going in, we like you said, there's an odd one out here. We were like, what's this white kid doing with all these Asian developers for the translator for Elden Ring? Like, what's going on here? Is that Miyazaki's lost son? Is he a tarnished one that's up up on the stage? And then so like me and Walt were really questioning that when we saw him just behind everybody. And then it happened. He was like, I want
Yeah.
to nominate my my reformed my reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton. And we were just entirely. It's funny that everyone's reaction is the exact same. So it's what did he just say? It was
Yeah.
honestly one of the funniest things that I seen at that and Chris Jobs with Eric Williams, a motherfucking beast. Like those two things were just the funniest thing ever. And then it just ballooned to this whole thing like, oh, the comments were anti-Semitic. This kid was in Infowars, and his messages were also shared on Twitter, and so like it ballooned into like this whole other thing.
Yeah.
It was kind of. I know Jason Schreier. He actually got he got an interview with him. So,
Yeah, dude. That's all.
yeah, so we might get more information on that. It turns out he's just a 15-year-old punk ass kid that just sneaked his way onto the stage, which is wild to me. That could have ended up any sort of way. So I'm grateful that it just was a troll rather than just something else.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, and like it could have like the crazy thing is thank the gods that it was just like a dumb little 15-year-old kid, but like that situation could have gotten a lot scarier, you know. So like I think
100%, yeah.
I think Jeff will look at this and he's gonna beef up security next year
My
as he
man,
should.
my man was pissed. You just see him after,
Yeah.
and then he learned he was arrested. He was like, well, "All right, well, that's the game."
Yeah.
I'm sure that man wanted to give that kid a knuckle sandwich after all that. Dog.
Yeah, for sure. I bet. Um,
That night when just as perfect as it can get for Jeff. Besides that one,
oh, definitely.
So man, that was wild. I'm so surprised that kid even went up on stage. And again, what was it, press alpha? He said like, yeah, how do you get past security and all that stuff? The thing is, there's no security there. That dude was super
Yeah.
smooth.
Yeah, there was no security up there. Shit.
Yeah, there was no
Yeah.
security whatsoever, like any sort of blocking the lines or anything. As you usually wouldn't, because like who would do that, right? But at the same time, it was like, how did that kid get up there? I wonder how long it took for people to register. That happened. And honestly, it was even more hilarious that it was during the game of the year one.
Yeah,
I thought that was
yeah.
just like, what in the world? So yeah,
And
people start talking about that Bill Clinton kid more than like the fact that From Software won.
yeah, I guess so. But yeah, man, what a crazy cap off to a pretty smooth night, I would say.
An
Um,
amazing show. I loved it.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, yeah. Overall, before we get out of here, what was your overall thoughts? After that.
Yeah, it's so. If I want to give it a score, you're at 9 out of 10. A grade for me, honestly. I loved it. The announcements were great. The pacing was amazing. There wasn't a whole bunch of crazy, cringy ads. Obviously, the Muppet stuff is what it is. Like I was telling, we were watching it, and Walt was like, "Oh, this is so bad," and like such garbage humor. I'm like, it's the thing is like when it comes to Muppets and like live action stuff like that, it's really hard to translate when you're watching on a TV, but when you're in person, it's a whole different energy.
Yeah,
So it's like going to watch Avenue Q, which is a whole whole puppet show on Broadway. And obviously, if you're looking at clips, it's like, oh, that looks garbage. But the show is freaking hilarious. It's just like the company you keep. So I think that was kind of like one of the necessary cringes, but one of the best Game Awards shows ever. Honestly,
yeah.
they
I
have a
agree.
tall order for next year for sure. The announcement.
Yeah, I agree. I had a lot of fun with it for sure. Um,
Way better than we
yeah.
could say for Summer Games Fest, right?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I guess that's pretty much it then for Game Awards and then today's podcast as well. So, before we get out of here, want to remind everyone to go ahead and like the podcast, share it out. Don't forget all that important stuff. I think Macho, next week will be our last podcast before we officially go on break, right?
That's the plan. Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool, cool.
And depending
Um,
if you finish Ragnarok or not, it's gonna be a spoiler cast for Ragnarok or a spoiler cast for another game that we will announce soon.
yeah. Ooh, oh man, I gotta get, I gotta get to it.
It's up to you.
Um,
I gave just for everyone in the comment section to know, right? I gave this man at least 2 weeks notice. Like, hey, we're doing spoiler cast on the 17th for God of War. Get ready. I see this man stream once the entire week.
oh man,
Man,
god
a shout to
damn.
you, man. It's like live life, but
I know, I know.
you know,
Yeah, I'm slacking on it, man.
yeah, it's all
Um,
good. You enjoy your games as you should.
thanks, man. But yeah, that is gonna do it for the podcast. What do you got planned this week, man?
Yeah, I mean, real quick before we actually do head out, I forgot to mention it because of our just a crazy morning. But I played Forspoken, the,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
the demo that got released on the day of the Game Awards, and I'll tell you right now, it's gonna be one of those games where you drop in Soul if you end up playing it, and you're gonna be like, oh, I don't like this, because
Oh
if
no.
well, the thing is that it throws a lot at you, and it's a bit overwhelming. The text for when you're reading the spells and switching between different spells is very small. Like I was squinting at it, and I was like, "What do these things do?" But once you actually get the hang of switching the spells and different kind of things, and just alternating between everything, it flows like magic, pun intended. It just flows, man. It's so much fun. It's the one of the things I see people complaining about, which I can agree with, is the empty open world. But I think it's because it literally just drops you into it and it leaves you to explore these different things. So it's a beefy demo. It's a 30 gigabyte demo for those asking. So make some room, and it literally drops you into like one of the areas. It gives you a little brief synopsis of the story of where Faye is at, and then you just go and do your own thing. I think this is a demo that's a little deceptive in that sense because it's giving you essentially what's the best part of the game, which is the combat, but not much of like a whole rounding, like sort of like what is this game really about. But it does drop you into the middle of the map, and you just go to explore. You get to do little side missions here and there. You actually get to delve into the crafting and the RPG systems of the game. So you do level up. You do get to mess around with phase nails, and they have multiple different ones to equip, and each have their own different like stat boosters or stat gainers, whatever the case we want to call them. And same thing with our cape. You get a whole bunch of different ones. You get to unlock a couple more in the demo, and I say all this because it's shaping up to be a game that has so many layers to its soul, on top of a really fun combat system where the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. So
Yeah,
I'd say for anyone like on the fence, like perhaps you, on the entire game, what it's going to be about, you can really tell from the demo of you're going to love it or you're just going to be okay and you want to wait for a sale on it. For me, it's a day one still. I love the combat system. Once you actually break into it and you learn how to mix and match and what to do and how to move around, it gets really cool. And now I'm just focused on how I can make things look as cool as possible. So great stuff on that. But
nice,
yeah,
nice.
that's Forspoken. I know Walt played it too, so that's why I wanted to wait a little bit to talk about it with him. But he can give his thoughts before. And I know we're gonna talk about Callisto Protocol as well because me and Walt both finished it. But I'm gonna wait till he's in the podcast so that we can talk more about that.
Definitely.
But other than that, it's gonna be more Lord of the Rings. Debating what's next week. I'm probably gonna watch like all those movies maybe before Christmas, since after Christmas is a little busy. But delve more into the books again. Really dive into it. I love Lord of the Rings so much, man. And the books are just the book. I'm just falling back in love with the whole series of mythology of Middle Earth again. It's so great. And then finish up Star Ocean last quarter of the game. So gonna finish that off and then possibly move on to more Halo and Crisis Core. Crisis Core is next week. So
Yeah, yeah.
there's that coming out too. So looking forward to that and expect Final Fantasy Friday next week as well. We'll be streaming Crisis Core. So
Cool. Awesome, man. Sounds good. Yeah, as for me, I mean, really just same old, same old. Trying to get through um Ragnarok as much as I can. We'll see.
this man, he's been
Um,
saying that every week. You know what he's starting to sound like?
oh man,
He's
what?
starting to sound like our boy Walt, man. With Horizon.
I thought you were gonna say I was sounding like those motherfuckers who keep saying that there's a PlayStation showcase next week.
Valid, valid. Okay, I take that one. I take that
um,
one.
but yeah, man. Besides that, really not too much. I still got classes for like another week, so I got that to take care of as well.
Okay.
But yeah, besides that, that's pretty much it, really. So thank you guys for tuning in and watching. Everyone who came through, stopped by live for a little bit, or really anyone who's watching just after the fact. I think I can speak on behalf of both of us when we say that we greatly appreciate it all, man. So
Yeah,
thank you,
shout out
man.
to everybody in the chats too and conversing with us and chiming in on Death Stranding, the Game Awards, and all that stuff. Really appreciate it, man. It's really cool to see people do come in and chat up with us this morning on all things gaming. We're really happy to see that. So, kudos to you guys, really.
Yeah, for sure. We love that. So yeah, man. Until next week, like we said, next week will be our final podcast of the year before break. So yeah, we will catch you guys then. Peace out.